Please don't crash before me. Watch as you come and unfold me. My sins they pour out and they go free. Ran away. Hello and welcome to Conversations with Reverend G. I am Reverend Grenetta Mason, aka Reverend G. And I'm here on WEMS Radio every Monday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., bringing you spiritual conversations. And each week, I bring on different guests from different perspectives with different points of view. And we have conversations about spirituality, about life, about current events, and about different things that are happening right now. And my hope is that this show leaves you inspired. My hope is also that after you leave the show, you walk away with possibly a new spiritual tool, or you understand how spirituality can work in your everyday life. I look at spirituality as how does it work from moment to moment? How can I use it in my everyday life? And that's how I like to break it down. I talk about using spiritual tools and spiritual practices. One of my things is about putting together your spiritual toolkit. So each one of the guests, they bring different spiritual practices that they use to support them. And we talk about their spiritual journeys. The hope is that you too can walk away with tools. I'm also do spiritual inspirations on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on Instagram as Rev Grenetta and on Facebook as Reverend Grenetta Mason. Today, my guest is Kioma Valcourt. Now, she's been on my show before, and we had such a great time. She is the owner and founder of Next Vanity Salon. She's a visionary and a master stylist. We were on the show before and we had such a great talk. She said, oh, she wanted to come back. And I was excited about having her come back. And you never know what happens between time. So she was a couple of months ago, and now she's coming back to the show. And we're going to talk about what's been going on since she last was on the show as a business owner, as a person who is working through everything that's going on with COVID. I would like to introduce, she wasn't here earlier, so I hope that she's here now to come on so that we can talk about what's been going on in her world. Is she here yet?
She's not here yet.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll wait for her and we'll hope that she shows up. But her whole thing really is about making women feel good about themselves. And hopefully she'll show up. But in the meantime, I have Prophet Pete on the phone, right?
Yes. You got me in the building. I'm here.
I am in the building, right?
I'm in the building. I'm always in the building.
He's always in the building, and I was like, oh, she's not here. We'll have to get through this, right? And I was like, well, I'm gonna bring you on, and he was like, well, I'm always in the building, right? And we were having an interesting conversation about everything that's going on right now with COVID, with people working, people not working, and having this great opportunity to just come on and talk to you about what's going on, right? I'm just hearing from her and she's saying she can't get on. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to try to send her another link. Yes. You know, we always talk about the show must go on, right?
Go on.
I'm on, and the show is on. So, Prophet P, give them a little bit about you because my audience may not know that you're the man behind the scene making this happen every week, right?
Yes, like for those of you that don't know about Prophet Pete is the owner and operator of WEMS Radio. Um, the reason why WEMS Radio was created was to provide a platform for individuals to get out their message, however unique it was or whatever it may be. I just felt that it was necessary that everybody had a voice.
Mhm.
Um, I was always stereotyped because of my physical appearance, my skin tone, my tattoos, or whatever, that I couldn't be an educated individual to be able to talk to the masses, and I had to create a platform that stated otherwise.
Mhm.
And for me, it's bringing individuals that have a voice, that have a unique saying. It's not
Mhm.
about following the masses or what everybody is saying. If you have a voice, you have a message, you have something to say. It's
Right.
important. It's important to WEMS that we join together and we make it happen, because I believe in individuality. Like
Mhm.
I don't believe in that group message or the masses, because you could be easily manipulated.
That is true. So I know a little bit about you because I met you through Nussie in doing this show. Can you talk a bit about, I'm putting you on the spot, I know right now, about your spirituality, right? The show is about spiritual conversations, right? So it would be interesting to talk about your spirituality a little bit. I've sent her the link, so hopefully she'll come.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, like my spirituality is, I always believed, always believe in the greater power.
mm,
Um, I truly believe that, we are always given the power of choice,
okay.
right? And based on the choices that we make, determine on where we're gonna go as individuals. Um,
Mm,
I've chose to stay in messed up situations. I've chose to chase great situations, but
mm,
it was always the power of choice, and with the greater power and all that, it's that path, right?
mm,
We always got that fork in the road. Are we gonna go to the left or we gonna go to the right?
right. I
And
like that too, because we
yeah,
get to choose.
yeah, we get to choose, and then based upon that, like I think that where we fail as individuals, or we fail as human beings, is that we don't accept the consequences behind our decision.
Hmm.
Like we tend to fail at that a lot. It's we're quick to say, "Oh, this didn't happen," not because I chose to go to the left, or not
Right.
because I chose to go to the right. It has to
Hmm.
do with the person that's over there that don't even probably have no clue of what the heck I'm doing.
Exactly.
Like they have no idea, but I was the one who said, "I'm gonna go left or I'm gonna go right."
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
People don't get that they choose everything you choose, and it's interesting when you stand in the space of knowing that you choose, then you can choose differently or understand that you do have a choice. I think when people think things are just coming to them and happening to them, they don't think that they have a choice or that they've chosen any of it.
yeah. It's they really don't understand it. Your guest is in the building, by the way. I see her.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
she's here.
Okay.
Um, very, very, very exquisite, by the way.
Okay,
Um,
let's do this. See, the show must go on, Prophet.
yeah, I need to get my hair done. I, I do. I don't got much going on, but I need to get my hair done. So if you want to hook me up, we can figure it
I'm
out.
gonna get you. I'm gonna get you on a full show with hair done and everything, so
Yo,
we can
all
bring
that.
the good
I need
conversation.
some faux dreads or something. Like I need something going on. I definitely need that. I know she can take care of me. I know. I might have
Uh,
to wait a couple of months because I gotta grow a little bit, but definitely. So without further ado, we go get the lady of honor in the building. Here we go,
all
yo.
right. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey,
You made it, right?
hey. Yes, technical difficulties.
I know. I
You have to
always
excuse me.
say,
My
mhm.
lights have been off for 12 days.
Wow. And you didn't
So,
know that.
well, no, I knew they were off. We
Oh,
were
I
just,
see what you said, but just getting things power back up and everything back on.
yes.
Oh, okay. So you are at the office. Yeah, we moved on. It was like the show must go on, right? So,
I hear you. I
yeah.
hear you. I'm in the,
Okay. I was thinking there may be a little delay between me talking and you, so we'll have to work with the delay, right? Are you frozen now? It seems that you might be, but hopefully you'll. Can you hear me, or are you just out of it? It's so funny. Your internet. All right. Well, I have Kioma here, and hopefully she can come back in. Are you here now? One of those days. Um, and talk about her experience. She recently just was quarantined with COVID, right? And so hopefully she'll come back in and get to talk to us about her experience with COVID over the past 14 days and how she's managed to get through it and the different things that she has to do going forward based on the fact that she's had COVID for the past 14 days. And we know that she is, um, as an owner of a business, there are several things that, she has to do in order to even be able to move her business forward during this time. So we were really excited about having the whole conversation around, her whole COVID experience. And hopefully she can come on and get to share that experience with you guys. There were many aspects to it because, as she told us the last time, she has lupus. So she started in this place already compromised. At the same time, she was able to come through this. And you see her, she looks great, right? And this is officially her first day being out of quarantine. So hopefully she'll come back and we can talk about that. The thing about it is during this time, we can also look at what tools can we all use right now with the different things that are happening with COVID, for instance. We were in this space at the beginning of the year where we did the whole lockdown, and now we are just stir crazy. And so we need to continuously reinvent ourselves, continuously create ways where we can get through this whole COVID situation, right? And what I think about is there's some of the times I have to pull out a lot of different types of spiritual practice from my spiritual toolkit. And one of the things I've been working on is really not overreacting and not placing meaning to things. She's back. I've been trying to hold it down, right? So I gave a bit. So we're going to jump right in. I told them that you had just finished. Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay. I told them that you just are coming off of quarantine.
Yes.
So I said, jump right in. So talk to us about how'd you get COVID? How, wherever you want to start, because I think the last time when we talked, I said to you, are you surviving or thriving during COVID, right? And that was months ago, and things have changed so much since then.
Well, I think I'm now to you both on my phone and on my laptop. So
Okay. All right.
what are you gonna do, right?
Right.
So I've been testing on a regular basis because I see clients, in the salon, and I'm kind of a germaphobe. Like I am not only a germaphobe, but I also have lupus. So I have been really, really careful. I'm the salon every day. Um, I'm limiting the amount of clients that I'm seeing. So here, who's not, and man, I can't tell you what happened because nobody gets in my car. I'm the only one
Mhm.
who drives my car. I don't park it in the garage. I park it on the street so that I could limit, who's in and out of it. And I'm so super careful. I can't even tell you. And then I'm testing on a regular basis. So I got tested the Sunday and the Monday before Thanksgiving. And then I was doing a concert on that Thursday, and I got tested again, and it came up positive, and I was devastated.
Mm.
Devastated.
Mhm.
I had to cancel all my appointments and go into quarantine. I have 3 children at home,
Mhm.
um, and a spouse, and I had to basically go into my bedroom, lock everyone out,
Mm.
and I didn't see anyone for pretty much 10 days straight. Today is day 11, and
Mhm.
I retested this morning and this evening. So I'm just coming by you from testing, and
Mhm.
did rapid test this morning, and I'm negative.
Oh, great. Yeah. Right. Um,
I'm so
what
excited.
was your experience for you? I mean, I talked to you and it was like, what were your symptoms, or did you have any, or how did that go? I remember one day you said you started to feel bad, but what
So,
was that like?
so let me tell you for me, and everyone is obviously, um, and it's a little confusing for me because I have lupus, so
Mhm.
I feel bad all the time. You know,
Oh, okay.
I have constant pain, and I'm constantly exhausted, and I have a lot of joint pain. I have GERD, so I do very often have like a almost like asthma feeling, chest pain,
Mhm.
or like a cough, like an acid reflux cough, and those are all associated with my lupus, right?
Mhm.
So you have to try to discern those symptoms from COVID symptoms, right?
Okay.
But what I was really feeling the most that I could definitely separate
Hmm.
was depression.
Depression.
Absolutely.
Mm.
I was depressed. I mean, almost instantly depressed. And
Mm.
depression that I could not even dig myself out of. I was really devastated.
Mm.
I was really, really devastated. I wanted to find out how it happened. That
Mhm.
was like my, whole thing was like, how did this happen? And I wanted to make sure that I didn't pass it on to anyone else.
Okay. Hmm.
So that was my.
That was the initial experience. Did what were so because you, like you said, you already had a lot of other symptoms, so the only thing that felt different for you was the level of depression that you had.
Yeah.
And I guess being alone all the time and with yourself, right, can also be hard.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what supported you during that time? What can you say? What were some of the things that actually supported you during the time?
I know this is
Uh,
crazy. I'm pointing to.
mhm,
I have an Apple Watch on.
mhm, mhm,
I'm pointing to my watch because I have a sister who's a doctor in Missouri who
mhm,
does this Apple Watch challenge with me, and like sometimes 10, sometimes 11, 12, 13. I think it's been up to like 17 or 18 of us at one
mhm,
time. And she's been doing this since January. She does
mhm,
a watch challenge. We, kind of challenge each other every day. We have special competitions on the weekends, and we close our rings every day, the rings
Mhm.
to the watch.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, I would not have gotten out of bed if it was not for my sister and this challenge with this,
Mm.
because everyone can see your activity. So
Okay.
if I'm in bed all day, these other women can see it, and they can see that
Mhm.
I'm moving and I'm not active, and they'll call.
Mhm.
So, and then again, like I said, my sister does these special competitions where she's like, all right, today I want everyone to do, burn 600 calories. I want you to do 10,000 steps or 15,000 steps or, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And, I'm competitive by nature. So I have to get up and get those steps done. So I started working out. So
Oh.
it's almost like being in jail, right?
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
I literally started and have like a Peloton or a treadmill or anything like
Right.
that. So I'm like in my room, like
Mhm.
running in place and doing
Right. Right.
dancing. And listen, I did what I had to do. I closed those rings,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's the only thing that kept me going. Let me tell you how bad it was. Right?
Okay.
Let me tell you how bad it was. On day
Mhm.
4,
Mhm.
I have I don't know, something like 45 or 48-inch screen TV in my bedroom,
Okay.
framed,
Mhm.
less than a year old,
Mhm.
and that thing just went out, done on day 4.
Wow.
I was like, what are you trying to tell me, Lord?
God.
You don't want me watching CNN. You don't want me watching ESPN.
Right.
You don't want me watching, MS.
Mhm.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Just turned it off. And I'm
Wow.
there with no TV for days and days and days. Children talking to me through the door. But
Wow.
I made it through. Me and my exercising
Exercising did it for you.
to get my mind strong.
Right. And I always say that exercising is a spiritual practice too, because it can take you to these places where you can find clarity, you
Yep.
get strength. There's a lot that can happen through having exercise as a practice, right? I could throw the spiritual on it because something spiritually that can happen during the whole process, but it's just a practice that can support you. And as you said, it's supporting you mentally and having your mental health and being stable, right? Which is pretty cool. When what about your business at this point, right? I know when we last spoke, you were, I think, we're trying to open or gonna go back. What's happened from then to now? I think it's been like 2 months. What's been the progress of your business based on COVID and where you are?
Well, we did open. We did reopen, but this is the challenge. You know, the challenge is, let's talk about the CDC guidelines, right?
Okay, okay.
If you get tested and you're positive, you have to stay home from work for 10 days. Everyone in your household has to quarantine for 14 days.
Mm.
So the challenge for me is I had some clients who were honest, and they said, listen, I have to cancel my appointment because I've been in contact with someone who tested positive, or, whatever it is,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
been in contact with someone that tested positive. So I have to quarantine. So so appointments get canceled that way. And that's tough when you're already only operating at 25% capacity, right?
Right. Yeah. Mhm.
Then I suspect, I know this is going to be very controversial, but I suspect that there are people who get tested or don't get tested, and they find out that they have COVID-19, and they do not want to sacrifice going to work, and their family sacrifice going to work. So they
So
can
they just.
and get serviced in salons all over every state in the country. I'm sure, I'm not special. I'm sure this is happening everywhere.
Right.
So, it makes you really afraid to even own and operate this type of a business right now, because socially distance from people.
You can't. That's hard to do. How do you socially distance, right?
And in fact, I spoke to someone at the state health department this morning before I went to get my test. And she told me that I shouldn't test today, that I was probably still going to come up positive. So, like, if that's true, like, there are people that are positive and they continue to test positive for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, sometimes more, and they don't have symptoms. Job,
Right.
work. They're not telling the restaurants that they're going to. They don't want to stop living. That's too. Are now, I'm really considering, in fact, I'm going to do it. I'm changing, my rules here for Next Vanity. I want to, demand that people come in with a negative COVID test. They have to have a test within 3 or 4 days of their visit, and they have to show me that they're negative. I have to make people accountable, because I have to take care of me. I have to take care of my family. Thank God everyone in my family is still negative.
Yeah.
I have to continue to take care of them.
Right.
I don't want to get this again. This was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be my new rule moving forward. And however that plays out, it plays out. I can't think about, money or the business surviving. I got to think about my life, my children's lives, family's lives. I want my parents. And so I think that's how we're going to have to move forward as a business.
So how many people do you have come in? Stylists? Do you have?
Right now I just have stylists that like rent a chair by the day here in,
Oh, okay.
like, once or twice a month. When they're here by themselves. I have private rooms in the back. We're all in our own private rooms. And they also are taking a very limited amount of clients. But I have to require the same thing of their clients. Yeah. We're going to have to require that clients come in with a negative COVID test before you step across the threshold. Because, here's the thing, the thermometer, I never ever had it, not once. Even when oxygen levels went down, and they said that they could see congestion in my x-rays, I still had no temperature. So that's not a good rule.
Right. So that's not the total rule, right? No. Yeah, well, that's interesting. I think that a lot of places will have to change, and you'll have to see what the impact of that is with people, right? Or if they want to get their hair done, then they'll follow the rules, right? To do it. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to now add that other layer of protection to the salon, right? I know that when I'm thinking about where people have to be tested or traveling, you have to test 3 days before you go and show that you have this negative thing. I wonder if I'm curious about how we're going to move forward. Will we have to go on lockdown or not, right?
I think we avoid lockdown if people are made to be accountable.
Right.
And
Right.
the only way that you can make people accountable are, if your job or your school or you know, your church or wherever it is you're going, your salon, your barbershop, if they're making you get a test in order to walk through that door, then you got to get a test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to be accountable.
Right.
You have to protect everyone else around.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just working, you never get. The only way you're safe, no one else enters your house. You're not ever. But some people think because they are home or they work from home, they're fine. But if your spouse leaves the house
Right.
and comes back in, and now you guys are in the house with no masks on, it's
Right.
just like you went outside.
Exactly. That's why you have to limit the people
Yep.
you're around with no mask on. Limit, totally right. Um, and you wear a mask all the time. That's what how people say. Some people believe like,
Oh,
oh, the mask work. Oh, it doesn't. At what point you still haven't figured out where you contacted, right?
I have not. I mean, I wear a mask all the time. Sometimes I wear a double mask and a shield.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I, I've got 4 different types of shields. I got,
Mm-hmm.
I, I have 3 freezer size Ziploc bags full of masks. I
Mm-hmm.
have the disposable masks. I have the cute masks. I have, listen,
Mm-hmm.
I wear a mask. I don't have a problem wearing a mask
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Wow, that's very interesting. And I also find it interesting that you didn't get like really, really ill, right?
Well, I think there's 2 reasons for that. Well,
Okay.
you know what? I don't know the reason, but for one, back in 2012, I really changed my diet dramatically because of
No.
Luke, and
Mm-hmm.
super duper duper healthy. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
don't really eat processed foods. I try my hardest to stay away from sugar. That's my weakness. Um,
Mm-hmm.
try really hard though, and I mean, I just eat probably more leafy green vegetables than anybody else
Right, exactly.
That is like, that's my go-to
Mm-hmm.
every meal. So there's that. Then my mama, my beautiful former ICU nurse, Nigerian mama,
Mm-hmm.
put together this lemon, lime, pineapple, garlic concoction that
Okay.
to inhale
Mm-hmm.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. And she also drink black pepper, manuka honey, and what was the other thing? Manuka honey and how could I forget? I drank this. Oh, and ginger. Sorry,
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
ginger, black pepper, and manuka honey.
Mm-hmm.
Make it into a tea. Let it cool down a little. I drank this 4 times a day. It's probably why I did it. I would
Mm-hmm.
drink tea like it was going out of style, and
Okay.
drink really warm water, and drinking ginger tea in between the black pepper manuka ginger tea. I was drinking regular ginger tea. I was drinking cold care tea. I was just the tea drinker. I was
Mm-hmm.
tea after tea after tea after tea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Taking vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, and a multivitamin.
Mm-hmm.
And when my oxygen levels went down, I did take an antibiotic for 5 days. And
Oh.
helpful as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really give all the credit to my diet.
Your diet. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get any concoction. Oh, you took one antibiotic?
I did take one antibiotic because on Thanksgiving Day, my oxygen levels went down, and they said they could see congestion in my lungs. So they put me on an antibiotic.
Okay. Okay. Because I was curious when we talk about the difference in people, how people are surviving now, how people died before. It's they know more now, so we think that they are better able to take care of people now, and not as many people dying. I don't know the numbers so well, right? But I'm
Yeah,
thinking they know a lot more and more people are surviving.
they do know a lot more. So I think before, when they were seeing the X-rays, these chest X-rays were like going straight to pneumonia, right?
Mm, mm,
Know what it looks like before it gets there.
mm-hmm.
Start treating it before it's like too late.
Okay.
And
Right. Okay.
so, when someone is just like feeling bad with some regular cold symptoms, they're on top of it, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not just sending people home, to get sicker
Mm-hmm.
before it turns into something worse. Because they say that it like, my mom was so worried. She was checking on me every day, several times a day, because she said that it could just go from good to terrible.
Right.
And,
Like it one. Right.
and she was really afraid of that. So
Mm-hmm.
she made me check my temperature constantly. And like I said, I never had a temperature.
Never once did you have a temperature.
Never. It was never over 97.7.
Wow. 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 How did the kids do with all of this?
That's scary because I'm sure there are people walking around with a 97.7 temperature,
And carrying it.
and they're carrying it and they're spreading it everywhere. So,
That's interesting. So I would say, how did the kids hold up through?
the kids were great. My little Naomi always checked up on me every morning, made sure, that she brought me a little plate of something if I needed something. You know what I learned? The
What?
hard You cannot take vitamins without eating.
Oh.
Oh, that is not cool.
So you needed food, right? Food.
Yes, I needed to have a little bit of food in the morning so that I could take my vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big
Mm-hmm.
taker, so I don't really take, I never really take medicine. I don't like taking any kind of pills. But let me tell you, I was popping those pills
Mm-hmm.
because I did not want this to take me down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first day, I just tried to take like vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, a multivitamin, all at the same time with no food on my stomach.
Mm.
Like,
That didn't work.
oh my goodness, I really thought I had COVID. I was like, oh, I'm dying. I'm about.
Oh crap. I was like, oh crap, because I think about when you talked about the mental health part of that, right? And the thoughts, how did you keep your mind from going so crazy, right? Um, that to me was probably the most challenging part is focusing. Then I would have to read something, listen, to something, do a lot of different things, right?
Yes. Well, you're absolutely right. I did. I had to start reading. I was drawing and coloring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, listen, you got to pass the time away. So I was reading. I was reading one book on Black hair and its origins, of
Mm,
course,
of course, right.
and then I was reading another book um, on fasting and the mental, the mental strength that it takes to fast.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Um, so those were, it was only 10 days now that I look back on it. Uh,
Right.
it felt like a year when it was happening, but
because it comes to my mind where you actually had to take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? So those were like three important aspects to pay attention to during this time, right? And for I think when
And
you said the most important thing for you, one of the things was the mental health. That was surprising for me because I do know that people are everybody's on the verge of being mental, right? But we don't always recognize it. And for that being the biggest thing for you, not having depression and then to experience this.
yes, yes, yes. And you know, I started to this is crazy, but I started to ask myself, because there are so many people that would text me or call me and say that they were praying for me, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I started saying things to myself like, this is the problem. I don't pray enough. And
Uh-uh.
I felt like, no, I'm really being serious. And
Mm.
like, you can't start praying when you need something, right?
Mm.
Like, be praying all the time, right?
Mm.
If you believe in this higher power, and you can't just like right when you're, you know,
In trouble, right? Then you're going to start to pick up the prayer. I think that's what we talk about too. When I talk about spiritual practices, I also talk about consistency in practicing these practices. And then what I hear you saying is, okay, so all of a sudden I need to pick up praying right now, right? Because I'm
right.
in this desperate place.
And I was
Whereas having it as a natural part of what you do all the time, like we do gratitude, we practice those things, practicing gratitude. And what does that look like, right? So I can understand what you're saying. How did you start praying, or what? How did that work out for
but I
you?
felt like it wasn't going to work.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this isn't going to work because I'm not this um I don't do it like this all the time. And
Mm.
this all the time,
Mhm.
it's not going to work. We're his children. He's like, no, no, you're not. You're
Right. You were gonna get your reprimand for just coming late to the party, right? It's not gonna happen like that. But I don't think that's how it goes, right? But I can understand how you were thinking that way. But I really believe that at any time you could just stop praying, right? And it works.
right,
Prayer works, right?
right.
But I understand what you're saying. You were like, oh my God, here I am. Now I want to pray, right? And that's interesting, because now if you could look to, what would you say, given all of this, what might be the three things that you would like to incorporate into your life as spiritual practices?
Oh, well, I have a girlfriend who literally wakes up every day and goes and falls straight to her knees, and right away, she prays and she meditates.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be honest, I wake up jumping out of the bed.
Right.
Yeah. Always running.
Right.
But here's what's gonna change. I am gonna start with that spiritual practice in the morning, and
Mm.
I'm gonna pray, and I'm going to eat
In the morning.
my vitamins.
Mm.
Going to continue that practice. That is now how I start my day. Before
Mm-hmm.
I jump into the shower and start running.
Mm-hmm. That's going to take something for you, because I know how you jump into the bed, then you jump out after a couple of hours of sleep and you're on the go.
Yeah.
So I could see this being something that you'll have to really practice.
Yes.
And the consistency is what's going to make it work, right? It's just got to be
Well,
in the schedule. But yeah,
well, I'll tell you, I've already done it for 11 days. So
yeah, right. So just keep it going. But when life starts happening again,
yeah,
right? You have to be in it. Do it for 21 days then as life, because now you're sort of back. I don't know, you'll do things different, but life's happening again for you.
Right. Well, I'm
And
not
like,
just yet. I did a test today at NYU because what I did
mhm.
was a rapid test. So
Okay, and that was negative. So now you just
I
gotta wait.
like winning the lotto.
Mhm. Right.
When I get the, you know, the
Other one. Right.
this the what is it, a CPR? The CPR,
Yeah.
when I get the CPR test back tomorrow, because I took it this evening. But
What so the difference between the two is, were they both the nose swab or were
they're
the difference?
both a nose swab.
Mm-hmm.
They both tickle your brain
Mm-hmm.
through your
Right. Mm-hmm.
and but the first one, like I got the results in like an hour.
Okay, got it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the one I did this evening, I probably won't get it back until today's Monday, so I'll probably get it back like Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel different? Do you feel you're better? Is there a feeling about being better, or it's just that it's just positive or negative because of symptoms or whatever?
I think it's all in my head. I
Oh,
Like I said, I feel like I won the lotto.
okay. Okay. Okay.
That there's
Mm-hmm.
a bank account,
Okay.
but, but the feeling,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel good. I
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feel absolutely wonderful.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that is interesting. Well, you look good, so it didn't take you out, right?
Thanks.
That
Well,
you're.
look, it's my first time back here since the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
So, it feels good to be talking to you from the salon. But since I had to get tested down the street, I was like, hey, why don't I
Yeah.
check on things, check the mail, and make sure, everything's okay over here. I haven't been here, um, in 11 days. So everything is the same.
Mhm.
Still,
All right. Well, it's really interesting when we made this appointment from before the first time, and then you were like, oh, I want to come back, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put you over there in December, right? And to think about going from there to now, because last time we were talking about voting, we were talking about the impact of all of that, and all of that has happened now, right?
yeah,
And here we are at the brink of a vaccine, so
it-
all of that is very interesting to think about.
I've
When
been, I've been, I had time on my hands.
like,
So I have been like reading up on these vaccines, and it's actually really fascinating.
mm-hmm,
Really, really, really fascinating. Like, first of all, the amount of money that was pumped into finding a vaccine.
mm-hmm,
Um, it's interesting because we've had, lupus and MS and cancer and all of these diseases that I just wonder, after we get through COVID and discovering all of this new technology because of COVID, I wonder how this same technology will be able to help with a lot of these other diseases.
mm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that is interesting. It could have an impact. So your camera went out on them, because I was thinking about and your camera went off and my mind went blank, right? Anyway, well, it was nice having you here, Kioma. I guess your lights went off. Your name is still here. Thank you for showing up. And guys, this was some show today, right? but the show must go on, as I always say. And I'd like to thank Yoma for sharing with us her very personal experience with COVID. And
There we
there you
go.
go, right? I was like, we've had everything tonight. And I was just trying to remember the last thing we were talking about was the vaccine, right? And that you had done a lot of research on, oh, and the money that was pumped into that. And I was going to say, yeah, the urgency was there, right, in that moment. So you could see how they just put a lot of money into it. And
Yep.
hopefully, as you said, once we get past this, we could see that same urgency around some of the other diseases that are impacting people that are just going on and on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was going to say, anything you want to leave people with today? Because we're getting close to that time. We can just talk and talk and talk, right?
Say one more thing.
Okay.
So when this first started, one of my biggest concerns and one of the things that was really stressing me out was Thanksgiving. Like,
Mm,
what was going to happen with Thanksgiving if
mm,
the room under quarantine? And like I said, everyone else in my family was negative. So
mm,
we have our traditions, and everything had to stop, right?
mm, mhm,
And I had to get through that. I had to get over that. You know,
mhm,
we
mhm,
could celebrate Thanksgiving on another day.
mhm,
We could, we could do it on any day. We could do it on Saturday. We could do it another week and a half from now, or, whatever.
mhm,
So we do attach all of this importance and symbolism to, these holidays, to Christmas, to
mhm,
Thanksgiving, Easter, to, you know, all of it. And
mhm,
I really, really had to be in the real spirit of Thanksgiving over this past week, and like,
yeah.
really be grateful, like really all of the people who have passed away,
Mm,
and me to not even, get half as sick as
mm,
a
peace.
lot of the people who have suffered from this illness have,
Mm, mm,
you know,
mm,
had to
mm,
be grateful and let all the other stuff go at
yeah.
the end of the day.
Mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm. That is interesting. And where the gratitude comes from, right? And how and even for me this Thanksgiving, I was very grateful, right? Grateful, just thinking about the hardships of others, people who weren't eating, people who had to stand in line to get food. We had a huge feast and it was lovely. I even had the opportunity to have my daughter and her husband here. People couldn't have people. So there was a lot of gratitude around just the simple things of being in the room with another person, right? Or being able to have anybody over and around. So Thanksgiving did mean a lot to me also this year around we take so many things for granted, right? Just take it for granted. And here COVID, how you really sit down and assess what's really going on. So I am continuously showing gratitude always for where I am now. So that's one of the things that's really working for me is a practice of gratitude and
absolutely.
just being happy, staying in joy, understanding what's going on, but finding that moment of joy and peace so that I can have peace in my soul. And as I've said, this time for me, I've used a million and one spiritual practices, right, at different moments to get through everything that's going on.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, my dear, thank you so much for coming on the show. I guess I gotta go get a COVID test, come get my hair done, right? But it's all in the good spirit of being safe.
Yeah.
So I will totally be in touch with you and take care. And thanks for joining me tonight. And thanks for sharing your personal story with us.
No, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
All right. Good night.
And thank you guys for joining me, Reverend G. I'm here every Monday night on WEMS Radio from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can find me on Instagram as Rev Grenetta, on Facebook as Reverend Grenetta Mason, and on YouTube as Reverend Grenetta Mason. And I'd like to leave you with a thought about gratitude. What are you grateful for? And the simple things in life we can be grateful for. So, in your mindful moment, think about what you're grateful for. I am Reverend G. I'm always about bringing you joy and helping you and supporting you in finding your best and living your best life with grace and ease. You have a great day, and I will see you next week on WEMS Radio at 8 o'clock p.m.